What's going on, everybody? Back at you with another video. Today we're going to talk about something a little bit off the cryptocurrency topic. But when I talk about these things, sometimes I kind of always bring it back to crypto, right? Like, share, and subscribe. So tell a friend and tell a friend. Um, this guy right now is that you're watching. His name is Nick Cannon. For those who don't know, uh, he's been in the entertainment industry for a while. As a young person, he was a musician too, comedy, and movies and stuff. And so recently, as recent as I think within the last 24 hours, he was dropped by Viacom, CBS. It says after making anti-Semitic comments. Now, I'm not gonna really go through this article to speak about what happened to Mr. Cannon. The title really says all that needs to be said for the purposes of this video. Nick Cannon, the reason why I'm talking about him is because I love hip hop as far as music. I love all kinds of music, right? Including hip hop. So I'm talking about is because Nick, over the years with his uh, show called the Wilding Out, you know, it's been successful. I believe it was on MTV, then MTV2. I don't watch it as much as I used to in the beginning, but it's been fairly successful. Excuse me. And recently, he's hired or recruited some members of the battle rap community. I follow battle rap, so he's hired and recruited some members of the battle rap community to join his cast. A bunch of comedians have been on his show and who have become part of his staff and who have since went on to do other things. But after hearing how he got fired, one thing that I had to think about was in his exclamation, I guess, or his retort towards being fired. From what I'm understanding, he asked to have the rights to Wild 'N Out. Now that's supposed to have been his show, and what's surprising to me about the whole thing is, as I think many people thought, that Wilding Out was his show. He has no rights. I can't say no rights, but I guess he doesn't completely own. He doesn't own the show, which is very telling. He got on his podcast show with Professor Griff, who was a member of Public Enemy. And back in the early 90s, I want to say 1990 or 89, don't quote me, you got to do some fact finding if you care. Professor Griff made some controversial remarks regarding, anti-Semitism. And so Chuck D, who was the leader of Public Enemy, was forced, to kick him out of the group, basically. The entertainment industry and the record companies and Russell Simmons, the head of Def Jam at the time, was not having it. They weren't going to stand for what Professor Griff was saying. And Professor Griff also was in a podcast with, Nick Cannon. And Nick was expressing his views about white people and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, man, here you go, and here we are where his show got cut. So then what happens? Because it's more than just about, see, this is again the whole thing about responsibility, right? Responsibility, because Nick Cannon is not just an individual who's out here, just doing whatever he's doing just for himself, running his own, working or he has no one else to take care of. He has a staff. He has obligations to meet. In other words, like contractual money obligations, partnerships, whatever it is that he has going to keep, I guess, his brand and his businesses afloat. And when you put yourself out there by expressing certain views, sure, freedom of speech and everything, that's cool. But then when the plug gets pulled and the rug gets pulled from under your feet, what happens to everyone else? What happens to the members of the cast and crew? Like, if the head of Wild 'N Out gets fired by Viacom, what happens to the show that he doesn't own? Right? What? So now the battle rappers, the likes of Conceited, that's one artist, Hitman Holla, Charlie Clips, as those were the last three that I knew that were on the show. I'm sure there were others, but I don't remember them. If they are, I don't know. I haven't watched the show in a very long time. So it's kind of crazy. Where's the responsibility? Like, you have to really take responsibility. We all are entitled to our views and our opinions, and et cetera, et cetera. But again, Viacom, these media conglomerates, like, a lot of times people forget. When I see people talk about YouTube, for example, and how YouTube, they censor, they pull videos down, they strike channels and shut down channels altogether. That's the nature of the beast. That's the nature of the beast. When people say, "Oh yeah, my channel on YouTube," it's not your channel. You just rent, right? It's like rent. You're just there. It's a partnership. They have the final say. People are afraid to even express themselves for fear of being demonetized, and et cetera, et cetera. And then when YouTube shuts them down and fires them, or not even fire, but shuts your channel down, there goes your income. Then you want to disparage YouTube, go to another decentralized platform or another platform altogether, and not have the success, or not garner the same success that you had on YouTube, because YouTube has the widest reach. Just like Viacom has a wide reach. These media outlets are run by a select conglomerate that have a purpose and agenda to push out information. And if you go against that, your plug will be pulled. Be prepared for that. But what measures were put in place? So now you have people who are scrambling. Going back to Nick Cannon, you have people who are scrambling who are, I can't even imagine. It's been 24 hours since this whole thing happened. So I'm sure he's trending on social media, et cetera, et cetera. But what about these guys that were so excited to be on mainstream media? One guy, I remember, out of the battle rap community, he was so happy. He was making so much money that he could take care of his family and not have to worry about battle rap, which comparatively speaking, wasn't paying as much as he was receiving on the show. But then also there were talks where Nick Cannon was so savvy with his budget, he was also finessing his staff, where he was getting the most out of them for the same pay. Like, okay, they would get whatever they get, but then he would demand more work out of them. It's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. The lack of control, the lack of freedom, the lack of people have no say when you're partnered with a centralized entity or a beast, a conglomerate, a corporation, whatever you want to call it. You have to play by their rules. Don't be surprised if when you don't play by the rules, you have to endure some type of crazy consequences. I mean, I don't see how people are. He can't be surprised that he was going to get, maybe that was his mission, to get off Viacom, or I don't know. But then now to say that, he wants the rights to Wild 'N Out. That's his brand, that's his company, but it's not even his. He doesn't even own it. So that just, he's been doing this show for years. He's been doing the show for years, and when you don't own it, it's just like that whole employee, employer, slave master type of situation. Worker, owner. It's just sad, man. Unfortunate and sad. Crypto's not about that though. You know, I gotta bring it back to the crypto. Crypto is not about, central point of authority. Getting entangled. Another special word that's been roaming through social media. Entangled. Getting entangled in different relationships and interactions where you have to go and pretty much kowtow and deal with whatever you're told to do, or else you have to pay, and pay dearly. Like, your livelihood could be eradicated, just taken from you just like that. I think crypto is the last resort. People don't care, but I think crypto is the last resort. One of the battle rappers was saying that he makes $50,000 per episode. $50,000 per episode. Each episode, I guess, that gets aired, not aired, but like that gets recorded. And I'm not sure if there's residuals or how those mechanical things even work as far as royalties or whatever. I'm not sure. But 50,000. Imagine if those of us who know about crypto, what would we do with 50,000? Whoa. What would we do with that 50,000 dirty fiat? What would we do with the dirty fiat? I don't know. Everybody would do something different, But that's the thing. Like, how do you tell people, listen, man, like, what you're doing is crazy. This whole thing about money, man, like, it's we give money power. Well, let me take that back. And in the United States, one of the main reasons why the dollar has power is because they have a military behind it, man. They're going to force you to believe in that dollar. The military is going to force you to believe in that dollar. Come hook or crook. They're going to force you. So, but we know it doesn't have any might like that. It's just as mighty as the military. But take that away, what's the standard? Just faith, belief, community. If we put our faith in behind anything, it can become money. One of the reasons why gold has been able to withstand the test of time and overcome all types of really money, as far as hard assets, with things of the past where people used to barter and trade different types of goods that were purported to be used as money, cowrie shells, beads, and things of that nature. Gold withstood all of that because in some cases it's very portable, and in some cases you can use that value because it's used as a store of value. You could use it to purchase things over time. It's very hard to carry a big brick of gold to go different places, though. That's why when you have the introduction of Bitcoin, a hard asset, it's hard because it's scarce, it's finite in nature. Then just like gold that gets dug underground or comes from the ground, Bitcoin is mined above the ground. They both have to be mined, right? The difficulty rate increases over a period of time to mine Bitcoin, right? through the protocol, when there's a certain level of difficulty that reaches in the protocol, it gets to a level where there's some type of like, level playing field that keeps all the miners interested, or gives them an incentive to continue to mine, to continue to produce all that energy, to continue to use, the cryptos that they earn from the emission. Every 10 blocks, every 10 minutes, there's 6.25 cryptos that's introduced to the world, that's mined through heavy production. The energy costs are crazy, and it just gets harder and harder through time, and the emission rate decreases every 210,000 blocks. That's the halving. All I'm saying is the dollar, people say it's king. Yeah, cash is king. It's king because the government says it's king. If you don't believe it's king, that military is going to force you to think it's king. The military, man, with them guns, right? The Marines are going to force you to believe that's the dollar is king, come hook or crook. But what's messed up is last year in America, for example, it took over $3 trillion. They took $3 trillion from the people by way of taxes. $3 trillion. Now think about this. For example, it took like $3 trillion, maybe a little more. $3 trillion. How much was in the CARES Act this year? How much money was given out in the CARES Act this year within a shorter period of time than 1 year? Then the whole of 2019, as far as taxes, they accumulated what, 3 point something trillion. And within a matter of a month, what, $10 trillion were given out within a matter of a month for the CARES Act? But they still want you to pay taxes, though. You still have to pay taxes. Do you need the taxes where you could just print the money? Like, this is... Look, I digress, people. Listen, I gotta go. Sign of the times. Things are crazy, man. Each day that goes by. Just remain vigilant, receptive to the real, to the raw, unadulterated. And I'll talk to you later.